they were telling me that he had multiple identification. That shit was crazy. Like, I was really with a real crook. I was really with a real scammer. Like, he was real life scamming. He had, and when I tell y'all, he had credit card numbers at least 100.
Know what I'm talking about, babe? Yeah. Now it's time for me.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you're one of my OG subscribers, my girls, hey, welcome back to the channel. Today is a story time. I always do story time, so I don't even know why I'm saying that, but anyway, this is gonna be a story about my friend being a scammer and how he was not a good influence. I'm gonna just say that. We're gonna save it for the story. But anyway, if you haven't already gotten your snack, got your drink, got your herbal essence, get all your stuff together, and then stay tuned to the story because we about to get on it. If you haven't watched my last video, you need to go back and watch it. That's all I'm gonna say. Just watch my last video. Watch my last video. And yeah, we finna come back.
Period.
Thank y'all so much for subscribing to my channel and leaving comments and liking and doing all that good stuff. I appreciate y'all so much. Excuse my hair, y'all. I gotta take these braids out, but I think I'm gonna wait a couple of weeks because I think I'm gonna get my hair braided again. I'm going back and forth if I want to do braids or if I want to do one of my wigs. I don't know what to do. So we just gonna be looking like boho right now. So anyway, let's get into the video. So I need to drink this one more time because y'all, my video I just did, y'all, that boy a damn fool. Zoe is a fool. If you don't know who Zoe is, y'all need to go back and watch my other video.
I tell her, yeah. I tell her, listen, big bitch. Big girl, I just don't get it. How you enjoy being fat. I know you smell the chicken with the fries in the back.
What's the video I just posted? I got the same little outfit on. It's gonna go watch it. All right. So this time was years ago, like probably 18 years ago. This was a long time ago. Maybe. Well, I'm trying to think, but I don't know. It was a long time ago. Anyway, it was a long time ago. I was in my 20s. I probably was like 20 years old or 21. This was before I got my CDL. This was before I started fucking up people's trucks and cars and shit. Not cars, they vehicles, you know. When I
Hold on. Now hold on.
I got my CDL. This is before that. This is before all of that. I used to work in a boutique, a high-end boutique. And I'm gonna tell y'all a story about that, but this is gonna be a later story time. This is the time my friend that I met was a scammer. And I slowly found out that that's what he was doing. Okay, so I worked in a high-end boutique, right? And next door, he worked in the cleaners next door. One day he had walked over, I guess he was bored because in the boutique, it would be like me and this other girl that worked with me. She was the same age as me, like 20, 21 years old. So we super young, and he's the same, about maybe, if not the same age, he's in our age range. So he could have been probably like 2 years older than us, maybe even 3 or 4. He was super, super cool, and he was a gay man, and he was a feminine gay man, but he did not dress like a feminine gay man. He dressed like a thug, like a street dude, like cap on your head. He had braids to the back. He wore, like, his clothes was always nice. Like, he dressed like a regular guy. Not to say that he can't dress like a regular guy, but if you look at him, you would think he was a dude, a street dude. Not a guy that worked in the cleaners next door. But when he talked, all of the feminine flamboyantness came out when he talked. So automatically I was like, oh, okay. So, because when he came over, he was just like, he asked us for something. I don't know, he needed something. And we had gave it to him. And then that's how we knew, like, okay. And then eventually when he would go on his break, he didn't want to be over there. So he would come in our store And like I said, all the shops in that store was like super high end. So it was never a lot of people in the store. It was always like maybe like 2 or 3 people at a time. And it was very spaced out. So sometimes we'd be in there and nobody would be in there with us. And then like he worked at the cleaner. So it was the same thing. Like some people would come in and then it would be like, you'd be hours with no one coming in. So he'd be bored. So he'll come next door and he'd be talking to us. So me and him, I'm going to name him Todd. That's not his real name. Okay. I had already thought of his name, because I don't have time to be sitting up here thinking like, what am I gonna name him? Because I already knew I was gonna make the video. Okay, anyway, me and Todd got super close. Like that was my ace, my boom coon, like that was my guy. He was fashionable in men and women fashion. He was like an interior designer. Like his apartment, you swear it was a woman that decorated that place. It was so beautiful. His personality, he was fun, he was flamboyant. And I told y'all in my last story time that I used to go to a lot of gay bars at this time. So when I met him, I used to go with him and I used to go with my other 2 guy friends. So I was like around a lot of gay males a lot. So when I met him, it was just like, that's like my stilo. Like that's my type of people. Like I love y'all. Like let's go. Where we going? So he was new to Houston. He moved down here from somewhere in the Midwest, East Coast type area, because he used to wear Timbs and all that stuff. So he wore Timbs and everything. I don't know exactly where up there he was from or where he moved from, but I know he was from up there. He had the little accent too. Not a New York accent, not I don't know. It was somewhere up there. Like he could have been from anywhere up there. I don't know. But it wasn't New York. It wasn't New Jersey. It was none of that. It was close to that though. Oh, he was from DC. That's where he was from. He was from DC. So he had like a little accent or whatever. Anyway, he came down here and he was telling me, I moved down here, all like his little story, whatever. Okay. We got real close. That was my road dog. We used to go everywhere. I'm gonna tell y'all this time. We was at a gas station and some song came on. I don't know what song was on it. He was pumping gas and all of a sudden, like he had a big old butt. Like his butt was huge. Like he had a donk back there. But he would sag his pants like so you could see like his butt, like the curve of his butt. He would sag. Man, he went out there and this was before like the word twerking was even like a word. That word didn't exist. Not like it is today. That boy was shaking ass. And I learned some stuff from him. He was one of the teachers. He was shaking ass. He was back arch popping it hard, like, and going crazy at the gas station at pumping gas. Like it was lit. We had all the doors open. The music was loud. It was his car. Music was loud and he was getting it like I was getting my life. But anyway, that was just one little scenario. We used to go to the club together. He used to tell me about the guys. I'm gonna tell y'all that too. The guys and stuff like that he used to deal with, because he only really dealt with DL men. I know that's horrible, but that's what he was attracted to, men that was like that. That's what he would be with. Anyway, because it was a scenario that had happened. That's why we ain't really talking no more. But anyway, let's continue. So I had ended up moving out. I was 21 at this time. I had ended up moving out of my parents. Well, I used to live with my mom when I was 20 for just 1 year. I had lived in an apartment with her, and then after the lease was up, I said I could pay all the bills by myself. I'm gonna just move on my own. So I ended up moving into my first townhouse, and I moved in my townhouse. And y'all, I'm not proud of this. Don't be judgy. Like we all make mistakes, and if I felt some type of way about it, I wouldn't even tell y'all. It's a learning lesson, and karma is real. And I trust me, I had got my karma, and I will tell y'all stories about how I know I got my karma. So don't worry. I paid for all the shit I was doing. So I met him, right? And I was having I wasn't having like financial problems. I was good. I made enough money to pay bills. But when somebody brings you like the proposition to like make more money and you ain't really gotta do nothing, and they start running a scenario, you young, you're like, okay, like that don't sound like that's a bad thing anyway. Okay. let's just get to the gist of it. He had said some stuff to me. I'm not gonna say what it was. Even though y'all don't know who he is, I ain't finna put all that out there, allegedly. I ain't finna do all that. But just know that he had asked me about some things, and I was just like, all right. Oh, okay. I was gullible, I'm gonna say, at that time, because I wasn't up on game. Like, yes, I was raised in the street. I mean, not the streets. I was raised in the hood, and I was around a lot of street people, you know, but I wasn't around them knowing like people run game and scams and doing all this.
Bring your street game, because that's what I'm bringing.
I wasn't paying attention. I was doing other stuff. So I wasn't around that to be like, oh, he a scammer. That wasn't until later that I realized that, oh yeah, he be scamming and shit. Okay. He asked me something about something. And the first thing that it wasn't for me at first. It was for one of my friends. And I'm not going to say what friend it was, but one of my close friends needed help with a bill. And he was like, oh, tell your friend if she give me $50, I'll pay her $200 bill for her. And I thought about it and I was like, what sense does that? That doesn't even sound right. Why would you get $200 cash from her and $50 cash from her and pay a $200 bill? That I didn't understand it. But in my mind, are
you dumb?
I think she's dumb.
Saying I don't understand it, but I'm not gonna ask him, why would you, that don't make sense. Like, that don't make sense. So I just was like, okay, I'm gonna tell her. So I told her, and she knew, because that friend there, she with all that type of stuff. All that stuff. I found that out later too, but I still was her friend. But I found all that stuff out. She didn't tell me until later. That's how I knew. Anyway, let's continue, because I feel like I be going off on tangents. But anyway, so he ended up giving her like this card number, and he was like, put this information in, pay the bill, and then he was like, and then give Joe the money and whatever. So that's what I did. So she was like, he did it for her. So then time go on, and then he did it for me, and he did it for me for a lot of things. My cell phone, my lights, like he paid my lights up for like 3 months. He had paid my cell phone for like a couple of months. And it was the same thing. He was like, put this card number in. He was like, put this information in your phone. I mean, not in your phone. He was like, call the company, pay the bill. And he was like, and he gave me all the numbers, all the credit card information. And he did. And I didn't ask nothing. No one in the back of my mind. I was like, what? Like, I'm going to give him this money cash, but he going to pay this high bill for me. So, and this when cell phones was high as hell. Like, they high now, but they was real high. Like, when roaming charges and all that stuff, you calling and doing all that, and you call after night. If you call before 9 o'clock, you know your phone bill run up and your minutes run out and all that stuff. Yeah, this was that time. Okay, so he would pay my bill or whatever. So then one day, I went over there and I used to eat lunch with him. I went over there and I was eating lunch with him. And then one day he was just telling me, he was like, yeah, when I be telling you the cash or whatever, he was like, I'm gonna tell you what I be doing. I was like, what? Cause I never asked, what do you be doing? How do you be doing this? He was like, he pulled out, now he worked at the cleaners. And when people pay at the cleaners, they pay with their credit cards. I know y'all probably already knew before I even said anything. The people that know. But anyway, the people would pay with their credit cards, right? And it would be like a paper, like a long sheet. And it'd be paper after paper after paper, probably like 30 pages of paperwork. And this was like back in that time. So, everything back then, if you don't know, because I don't want to say like, back in that time, people wasn't really using computers like how everything is digital now. Everything was still paper traced back then. Like, you could physically see everything. So anyway, they would get all the credit cards that would be used. They would have a file of that. So the person's name, address, zip code, credit card number, expiration date, last 3 on the back, all laid out on the papers. He would take that information and sell it to get cash, and that's what he would do. Now, when he told me this, I was like, oh my God. I instantly was scared. I'm like,
if you and I decide to rob the bank together, if I mastermind it and you carry out the plan and we went before a judge, we both would be sentenced, honey, for life in prison, child. Okay?
Like, they gonna find out, somebody gonna find out. And I'm gonna tell y'all, I didn't know, because I didn't ask nothing. But then when he told me, I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna do that again. Like, so when I told my friend, she was like, she already knew. She was like, he stole a credit card. I already knew. That's why he sold it so cheap like that. And I was like, why you ain't tell me? Anyway, it don't even matter. Anyway, like I said, I was still her friend anyway. But okay, fast forward, months have gone by. And then he goes and he tells me, no, before this had happened, he was already like telling me like, I'm gonna move to Atlanta. And he was like, I'm gonna move to Atlanta. He kept saying it like over and over. He's like, I'm gonna move. But I came to find out that he was like really? He was on the run. He was running because he did this in other states and they were looking for him. Now, I know y'all like, how do you know? Well, how do I know is because he quit and he just up and disappeared. And when he up, and I told y'all we was real close. And when he up and disappeared, his boss came to us and was asking us questions about him.
Cut the cameras.
Now she didn't know how close we all were because I would go over there and go eat with him and stuff, but that's all she thought. She just thought, oh, they just eat together. But she didn't know that we like hung out outside of that. But she had came over there and she had started telling us, oh, he was stealing information from here and we need to question him. Like the police are looking for him. Do y'all know like where he could be at, or do y'all have any information? Of course, I'm like, hell no, I don't know nothing. So then I was like, oh, like I hope they don't find out, because you know when you pay a bill, your name is there, like when you paying the bill and stuff. So if somebody reporting fraud, I'm like, I was worried that maybe they might find out that I did it before. Like I used a credit card from him. And I also was worried about my friend, but my friend was like, no, they not gonna find out that it's from you, because that's your information. They can't give. I don't know. She was trying to reassure me, but I still was scared and worried because that shit was scary to me. I don't know. But anyway, before that had happened, like I said, that he had disappeared or whatever, and he did not tell me nothing. Prior to all of that happening, he was telling me, oh, I'm gonna move to Atlanta. I gotta go. He was like, he told me the reason why he had moved because he was having issues with his family. But then I found out that he had did it in other states and they've been looking for him, like the feds or whoever, the police was watching him, and they had traced him back to Texas or whatever. So he was already gone. But before he had left, I told y'all that we would hang out and do all this stuff. Now, I don't know if they ever caught him. I don't know, because when he disappeared, like I never went to his house no more. Like because he had gotten to a real bad fight with one of the guys that he was messing with, like so bad to where like I was with him and the guy, and this stuff is dumb too. Like I used to be doing some wild stuff. He wanted to confront the like the girlfriend or wife. I don't think he was married. I think that was his girlfriend. He wanted to confront them because he did not like the fact that the guy had a whole family and was messing with him.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
He was like threatening the guy, telling him like, I'm gonna tell her. He was like, I don't care about you having a kid, because I think the guy had one kid or whatever. And like I was with him and we was gonna go over there, and I was just, because I used to be with him all the time, so I was like, I'm gonna go with him. But for some reason, I guess the guy sweet talked to him, and then he just was like, come over later. And I guess that guy came over and talked to him, and other stuff happened in between that time. But all of that was going on. So he had all of that drama. He was stealing, and he was trying to leave before he got caught. He ended up leaving. I don't know if they ever caught him. I don't know if he left his apartment in time. I don't know, but the job had ended up finding out. He left right before they could catch him. And I had never heard from him again, never seen him again. I don't even know if his name was his real name, because they were telling me that he had multiple identification. That shit was crazy. Like I was really with a real crook. I was really with a real scammer. Like he was real life scamming. And when I tell y'all, he had credit card numbers, at least 100 credit card numbers. He had. The paper was long, and all he would do was, that's how he was paying his like little bills, like whatever bills that he could pay. He wasn't paying like just 1 month. He was paying like months on it. And I guess somehow, some way they figured out that it was him, because if he using his real name to pay the bills, of course they're gonna find it, or whatever the case is. But anyway, yeah, he was doing that. And I was with him, and I had participated with using a credit card a couple times, but I didn't know until he told me, like, you know, this how I do it. I tell them, give me cash and they can use whatever amount. So if it's like 200, like he did my friend, I think he did her low because that was my friend, but he told me, like, it's like food stamps, like people who sell food stamps, like half and half. You want $200 worth of food stamps, you gotta give me $100 cash. That's how you doing them credit cards. But he was stealing the credit cards from the cleaners. And I think he used to work at other cleaners, because he was telling me that he worked at another cleaners in Houston, and then he left there and got the job at the cleaners that he worked at, and he started doing that. And I also think he was doing that because they have access to everybody's credit card information. Now, where I worked at, the boutique I worked at, we didn't have like they paid on this little machine, and the credit card information, we had no access to it. Once it was slid on that little machine, there was no way to retrieve the information on where it's gone. So, but at the cleaners, whatever way that they had their system set up, they had a printout of all of the things. And then he had a copy machine. He just copied the shit, and then he had the credit card information. So that's how he would do it. And yeah, that was it. That my friend was a scammer, and I seen him do it. So yeah, he was out there doing it real bad. And I think he was lying about a lot of stuff, like I don't know if that was his name. I don't even know if that was really his name, but yeah, that's the story, y'all. That's the story, and I hope you guys like the story. If you like my videos, you like me, whatever, continue to keep supporting the channel, the growth. You know, we're trying to get to 2K. So tell somebody, and subscribe to me or whatever. Keep supporting me, and I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in my next upload. Till then, bye y'all.